All right, welcome everybody. It is the end and the beginning. It's Inauguration Day for President Joe Biden. Donald Trump has already left Washington, D.C., and we are counting down to the actual swearing in of Joe Biden, expected to happen just after noon Eastern time. So we've got about an hour and 40 minutes. The festivities, of course, will start far sooner than that. They will be reduced in size and scope because of the coronavirus pandemic. And that is okay. That is okay. Donald Trump flying out early this morning, giving some deranged statements, including saying, "Have a nice life" to his supporters. And we will look at clips of that momentarily. But what a day we have today. The Biden administration, which does not yet exist but soon will, has a very big day planned. And in fact, Joe Biden is expected to sign. Actually, let's see. I can show you the schedule. This is important stuff. This is the Biden schedule. As you can see, 11:15, the swearing in ceremony will start. The actual swearing in can't happen until noon, and then we will have that. And then later today, you will see that at 5:15, President Biden will be signing some executive orders and taking other presidential actions. At 7 p.m., we will have our first press briefing by Press Secretary Jen Psaki. There hasn't been a serious press briefing by the Trump administration for months, other than that 90-second delusion by Kayleigh McEnany a few weeks ago. 7 tonight, we will have a press briefing from Jen Psaki, and we will hear presumably about all of the orders signed by Biden at 5:15, many of which will undo the atrocities done by Donald Trump. And then at 8:48 p.m., we're scheduled to hear remarks, an inauguration set of remarks from Biden and Kamala. And then at 9:55 p.m. Eastern time on the East Coast, 6:55 p.m. on the West Coast, the president and first lady will appear on the Blue Room balcony, another tradition of Inauguration Day. So there will be a lot going on today. I don't know how much of it I will cover, but certainly I will be back maybe for the press briefing as well as the nighttime stuff. I mean, why not, right? This only happens every 4 years. So many, many things to cover and to discuss today. At some point, I would also love to squeeze in phone calls if it's possible. Our goal, there's no more poetic goal than 306 today, the number of electoral votes with which Joe Biden won this presidential election. So much to discuss, and it will be very, very compelling. I see all of these thank yous coming in via Super Chat, and I love it as we see, oh God, is that Ted Cruz? Looks sort of like Ted Cruz. The vegan villainess thanking me for getting us through the insane presidency, and Jessica thanking from Queensland, Australia. James wants a recap of the last 4 years. Yeah, that would take that would take a long time to do. We're not equipped to do that right now, but certainly we will be recapping many different elements of the last many years for sure. No doubt about that. Yeah, that is Ted Cruz, and he just looks like somebody you can't trust. No question about it. No question whatsoever. Earlier this morning, if you want to take a quick look, Donald Trump speaking. Melania also spoke briefly. Take a listen.
Being your first lady was my greatest honor. Thank you for your love and your support. You will be in my thoughts and prayers. God bless you all. God bless your families.
And as you can see, an extremely powerful and passionate speech from the least popular first lady in the history of polling, Melania Trump. Donald Trump then saying, wait, where was it here? Donald Trump, basically his please clap moment, saying, remember, if anything good happens in the future, it was thanks to my doing.
You're going to see incredible numbers start coming in if everything is sort of left alone. Be careful. Very complex. Be careful.
It's really complicated, guys. If Biden does nothing, things will be good thanks to Trump.
But you're going to see some incredible things happening. And remember us when you see these things happening.
Right.
If you
think of Trump when Biden does things that seem good.
Remember us, because I'm looking at elements of our economy that are set to be a rocket ship up It's a rocket ship up.
Yep, very strong elements of economics. I can barely put it together. Here is Trump saying we've left it all on the field.
I think you're going to see those numbers really skyrocket downward. And I can only say this, we have worked hard. We've left it all, as the athletes would say, we've left it all in the field. We don't have to come and say, we'll never say in a month when we're sitting in Florida, we're not going to be looking at each other and saying, you know, if we only worked a little bit harder, you can't work.
Well, if you had only dealt with the pandemic, you'd be having another 4 years. Trump again mentioning the China virus.
China virus, it's a horrible thing that was put onto the world. We all know where it came from, but it's a horrible, horrible thing. So be very careful. Be very, very careful. But
careful.
We want to pay.
Should have said be careful back in February.
Great love to all of the people that have suffered, including families who have suffered so gravely.
So I guess it's good he's mentioning the victims of the virus. And then again, Trump mentioning the 1917 flu pandemic, which didn't start until 1918.
Put it in a position like it's never been before, despite the worst plague to hit since, I guess you'd say 1917, over 100 years ago.
Right. Okay, so that was 1918. We still don't know why he does that. And then here Trump, his final send-off, have a good life, as indistinguishable from satire, unable to be parodied. YMCA starts as if this is some kind of victory rally.
The things that we've done have been just incredible, and I couldn't have done it without you. So just a goodbye. We love you. We will be back in some form.
Please no.
And again, I want to just, in leaving, I want to thank our Vice President, Mike Pence, and Karen. I want to thank Congress, because we really worked well with Congress, at least certain elements of Congress. But we really did. We've gotten so much done that nobody thought would be possible. But I do want to thank Congress. And I want to thank all of the great people of Washington, D.C., all of the people that we worked with to put this miracle together. So have a good life. We will see you soon. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Can you imagine? Anyway, so that's Donald Trump's final screed as president of the United States, and breaking with tradition, the first healthy president in 150, I mean, to the extent he's healthy, in 152 years to skip the inauguration of their successor. And there it is. That was not a Saturday Night Live skit, but that was very, very real. I want to say a huge thank you to the 9 people who just grabbed Twitch subscriptions. I so appreciate your support and everybody's support. And also a very, very special thank you to Delia Wolf, who just signed up at joinpacman.com. We do have a very modest goal. We want to match the number of electoral votes secured by President-elect Biden, 306. We've got 10. And I invite you that this is a new beginning. It's a new start. And I would love it if you signed up at joinpacman.com using this coupon code. That is a signal to a better future starting today. Better 21 is the coupon code. The discount's so big, I can't even put it on the screen. It would be nice to interview Robert Reich for his take on Trump and his presidency, says James. He is welcome on the program anytime. We've not had success getting him on. Thank you all at the Pacman Show for keeping us sane. P.S. I wouldn't buy a used car from Ted Cruz. Well said. Well said. We are seeing this is the real caravan, not the Guatemalan one coming through Mexico to the southern border that doesn't exist. This is the actual caravan bringing the very soon to be president of the United States, Joseph R. Biden Jr., over to the Capitol. All calm. There have been about a dozen National Guard folks removed from their detail due to risks of a possible insider conflict of loyalty. Let's put it that way. There was also a guy with fake credentials with a gun and ammo arrested on Friday trying to get into the restricted area. So there have been some of these elements that have taken place. But for the most part, I expect that this is going to be no problem whatsoever. I think security is going to have it all handled very, very well, and we look forward to it. We will soon see a number of dignitaries, including Joe Biden himself, the president-elect, and it is all happening. It feels like just yesterday that Donald Trump was being inaugurated. It feels like a decade has gone by since then, and yet it also feels like it went by in a flash in some other ways. Very, very difficult to sort of have one say this is the way it feels. It has felt quick and it has felt long at different points in time, I think is the only way that I can say it. Delia Ann Wolf says, you pronounce my name beautifully. Even my dog heard my name on the TV. I appreciate that, Delia. I always do the best I can to pronounce everybody's names correctly. There is President-elect Joe Biden with remember, secret and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, with the soon-to-be second gentleman Douglas Emhoff, the first, who will be the first Jewish president, vice president, or spouse thereof ever. Joe Biden, only the second Catholic in history to be president of the United States. John F. Kennedy, of course, the first. And you may start to see, it's tough with masks, but you will start to see some Secret Service agents who may look familiar. And the reason they will look familiar is they were folks that worked with the Obama-Biden administration. Unusual that you will see a full replacement of the Secret Service detail for a new president. Typically, you see some folks, you would expect to see folks from the Trump administration Secret Service detail go and work with Biden due to fears of Trump loyalists and anti-maskers. It is a fully replaced detail, which we talked about on the program a couple of weeks ago. Another first that you don't typically need to worry about, but they need to be very careful because of potential Trump loyalists in all of these areas. And it is a very good thing. It is a very, very good thing that they are doing that. You cannot be too cautious. I believe this is Amy Klobuchar and her husband, Senator Amy Klobuchar and her husband, Joe Biden, as well as Jill Biden, Kamala Harris. Actually, that may be, sort of looks like Roy Blunt. Maybe that's not Amy Klobuchar's husband. With masks, it's hard to tell. There is Doug Emhoff and Amy Klobuchar, soon to be First Lady Jill Biden. Also, other firsts, as I talked. Oh, sorry, hold on. I'm missing. Aditya Balasubramanian has just signed up at joinpacman.com. Apologies in advance if I didn't get that name quite right. Matthew Dill also grabbing a subscription at 12. Dill, one of my favorite herbs. There's really few things better than dill. Absent dill, you can use fennel greens, fennel fronds, I think I would say, as a reasonable replacement to dill. Another first, Donald Trump leaving office as the least popular president in the polling era, averaging 41%, never reaching 50, and leaving with a low of 29. So Trump, the least popular president ever. Melania Trump, the least popular first lady ever in the polling era as well. And let's see if we can get a little audio here. That's not, just for the ambiance. So many, many firsts, my friends, many firsts, and I can't imagine that will be the end of it. Stock markets reacting positively today to what is going on. We are very excited to see the acceleration of vaccination take place. And you will notice that Donald Trump's absence, I'm not really feeling it in any way that I find negative. I'm fine with Donald Trump probably being very close to landing in Palm Beach, Florida. I think that is the right place for Donald Trump. It is not here, not by any means. David, have you ever played or enjoyed card games like Magic the Gathering? I have not. I don't like Magic the Gathering. Joe Biden is going to be the 46th president of the United States, says Rad Cat. That is true. That is absolutely true. Princess Jugs says via Twitch sub, love the content, keep up the good work. Thank you. And thanks to the 19 folks who just grabbed Twitch Prime subscriptions, a very, very special day here. And a lot going on as we see the president-elect enter the U.S. Capitol. There is Nancy Pelosi. Hard to identify people with the masks, but I'm confident that was Nancy Pelosi. And this is going to build over the next... So here's the schedule. There's 45 more minutes until the inauguration ceremony starts. The actual swearing in will be at noon, and that is by law. The president is president until noon Eastern, and then it will be Joe Biden. Here is a look from the other side of the Capitol. And there is a lot happening here. We did cover the pardons. We recorded today's podcast bright and early. So the podcast that will go live in a couple of hours is a pre-inauguration podcast. We covered pardons. We covered Donald Trump's final screeds. And then tomorrow's podcast, we will have, inauguration related stuff. Trust the plan, says Optimistically Cynical. Yeah, I started getting messages. This is so funny. We were getting messages up until about a week ago that would say Trump 2020. Now I'm getting messages from these people who still think there's some grand plan for Trump to remain president, and they're saying Trump 2021. Something now is going, they've moved the goalposts. They believe something will happen during 2021 to bring Trump back. Tom Denny with a very powerful, meaningful, inspirational super chat. Tom with a $75 blockbuster says, I voted for the first time in my life, partly because of you. Thank you so much, David. A very important message, Tom. I really appreciate that. And you love to hear it. That's the importance of alternatives to corporate media. It has never been more important than now. I do want to say thank you to a few other subscribers that just signed up at joinpacman.com. What is important to me about seeing people signing up today is that clearly people get that this is only the beginning. We've only now gotten the ball back. We're about to. And even this afternoon, Joe Biden will start with the executive orders, and it's going to be a process. Big thank you to Matt Fisher as well as Joanne Tarkong. Thanks to Nikki Levi, as well as Jake Durazio. Thanks to Benjamin Finley and Ramsey Buress. Big thank you to Adrian Abeda and William Mitchell. And lastly, Adley Teague has signed up. I appreciate the 9 of you who have grabbed a membership. Yes, if you're wondering, the coupon code BETTER21 refers directly to what we're seeing today. It is and there is Mitt Romney, Willard M. Romney. A little mask removal there. Very aggressive. Very, very aggressive mask pull down. But yes, Mitt Romney attending. Strong turnout from both Republicans and Democrats here. Selfies are going. By the way, is the audio mix okay, guys? Do I need to turn the background noise up or down? I don't want it to be
Gentlemen, please direct your attention toward the inaugural platform.
Something's...
The Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Oh, okay. I don't know that many of you care about the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Audio mix is good. Okay, good. Very good. Very good. Can you connect website memberships to Twitch or Discord? Not to Twitch, but yes, on Discord, message them, the Discord mods. Show them a screenshot of your website membership, and then you will get a very special member tag on the Discord. Very exciting. Hi, Dave. Any expectation of violence around the country today? Yeah, I think that there will be... Oh, God, it's Lindsay. There will be some attempts at violence, but I hope that it will be quelled and ineffective. But I do think there will be some attempts at violence for sure. And I don't take any pleasure in that. Thanks for your coverage this morning. Happy to be with you on this celebratory day. Absolutely. It feels like some good is finally around the corner. Been waiting 4 years for this. Yeah, we've been waiting a long time. Is that Steve Scalise? Is that who that is? I can't tell. Thought Steve Scalise was a little thinner, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. But in any case, welcome to all. We are live on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. I really appreciate everybody being here. We're also live on the Free Speech TV Facebook page. Which we love. We appreciate that. I did make an appearance last night, an impromptu appearance on the live stream of Cuban-American streamer Stephen Kenneth Destiny Bonnell II. Okay, closed captions. We'll get closed captions on at people's request. Very nice. Could we try to start saying Ivankas instead of Karens? Thanks for keeping us sane, David. Have a good life. That's not bad. I don't dislike that. That's not a bad idea. As a disabled veteran and single father, Trump has been the worst thing for this nation. I had to pay for visits and meds thanks to Trump. I can barely survive as it is, but now we finally actually have hope. Start the heel, says Hayden. Kaji says, as an Australian, I'm glad we have less pressure to push conservative in the future. Here's hoping for a new deal. Thanks for your hard work and perseverance. Yeah, the work starts now, my friends. The work starts now. Hayden says, today feels like a countrywide sobering cup of coffee after a 3-day drinking binge hangover. Nice analogy. We made it.
Ladies and gentlemen, leadership of the United States House of Representatives, Republican Whip the Honorable Stephen Scalise, and Majority Whip the Honorable James E. Clyburn.
Scalise and Clyburn coming in. The country may be in shambles, but we made it. Looking forward to boring news live streams again. Now that Trump is gone, will certain Trumpian elements of language very powerfully leave you? It could be tremendous like no one's ever seen. Couldn't say it better myself. Couldn't possibly say it better myself. Some might say we have been biding our time. Nice. Cole must be a dad. Now is not the time to go to sleep or take a break. Now is the time to get active. The next 4 years is ours. Yes, a lot of very important considerations there. I believe, was that Patrick Leahy, Senator Patrick Leahy? This is Clyburn here, of course. There's Scalise. Tough to identify a lot of different people. Big thank you to Nathaniel Jordan, as well as 9 other people who just grabbed Twitch Prime subscriptions. I do very much appreciate that. And, oh my God, I've fallen way behind on Join Pacman thank yous. Yeah, it's a very special day on our website, joinpacman.com. Thanks to Rob Bessler and Nathaniel Jordan, Jason Seep, and Quentin Boatwright. Big thank you to Enrico Gambi and Nathan Langdon. Janine Fisher has signed up. So has Ryan Lobb. Wow, these are just massive dumps of membership. Stephanie Frana and Julio Ortiz, as well as Tara Dibble. 11 new members. Very much appreciate that. Also, thanks to Jack Quantum for gifting 10. People in a celebratory mood today because there are a lot of things happening. Big thank you to Jacob for a $100 super chat, just simply with the message woot. Bay photo, not a MAGA cap in sight. Isn't that a pleasant visual image? That if this were Trump's re-inauguration, we would be seeing a sea of those stupid red MAGA hats and CAGA hats. And, wow. I'm being told of a bomb threat at the Capitol. Let's see. Bomb threat. Not finding it right now. Let me see if I can find an article about that. Bomb threat. U.S. Supreme Court being evacuated due to a bomb threat. Yes, indeed. Supreme Court Public Information Officer says a bomb threat was called into the court, but the building has not been evacuated. Breaking.
Ladies and gentlemen, leadership of the United States Senate, President Pro Tempore Emeritus, the Honorable Patrick Leahy and Mrs. Marshall Leahy. Democratic Whip, the Honorable Dick Durbin and Mrs. Rima Doden. Majority Whip, the Honorable John Thune and Mrs. Kimberly Thune. Democratic Leader, the Honorable Charles Schumer and Mrs. Irish Wineshaw Schumer. And President Pro Tempore of the Senate, the Honorable Chuck Grassley and Mrs. Jennifer Hines.
There it is. Yes, sources confirm a bomb threat at the Supreme Court, but conflicting reports as to whether it was evacuated. Here is Charles Schumer and his wife entering. And there is Chuck Grassley, presumably recovered from the virus and now able to be here. Very much happening. Very, very much happening. And importantly so, as folks continue to file in. If you're just joining us, the expected schedule is the ceremony starts at 11:15 a.m. in about a half hour, and the actual swearing in happens at the stroke of noon Eastern time in about an hour and 19 minutes. That's the schedule we expect. Wish it was Bernie, but glad it's not Trump. I'm getting involved with progressive activism in my community. Don't want to get lulled into complacency. Love your content, David. Greetings from Austria. Honestly, what happened in the U.S. reminds me of my country's history. Beans says, smash that like button. Thank you, David, for your hard work. Oscar says, massive dumps of David Pakman discounts. Thanks, David. Steven says, the circus finally left the White House. What a beautiful day. EJ says, David, what happens to the Lincoln Project now? Who cares? I don't know. I mean, I assume they just go back to being regular Republicans. Today's the end. In less than, this is Tisha McDonald. Today's the end. In less than 90 minutes, 45 will no longer be relevant in our minds as the mad wannabe dictator. We will be free from his divisive rhetoric, media trolling, and temper tantrums. I don't know that we will be free from it, but at least he won't be the president anymore. Unknown says, too many septuagenarians. We need young people. Young people. Yes, many people coming to that conclusion after seeing some of the demographics of those in leadership. Very, very much true. And a lot of warm-up music happening here. Cheering and champagne from Stockholm, Sweden. How much do we have to pay to hear David sing the national anthem? Here's to turning the page. Yeah, I don't know that we can get enough memberships for that. Goonie has subscribed with Twitch Prime and says, you're the best, enjoying the show. Time to heal starts now. Greetings from Germany. Yes, I've been hearing from many of our German viewers. Very, very pleased with what is going on. As we speak, stocks going absolutely bananas. And we have to be careful about drawing causal conclusions there. Big thank you, though. I was in the process of saying thanks to the additional 21 people who just signed up via Twitch, putting us at 82, and also a few other people to thank on joinpacman.com. I don't want to miss anybody. Claire Manganon just signed up on my website. Joe Fry just signed up. Jasper Groot has signed up. Oliver Yared has a new membership. Ingela Hamar and Jack Hughes putting together some nice numbers there. We are expecting very, very soon that a procession of former presidents will enter. As you see, traditional grip being applied there by the snare drummers.
Honorable Dan Quayle.
Dan Quayle. Wow, how old is Dan Quayle now? That's interesting. Dan Quayle is now 73 years old, former vice president to George H.W. Bush. That's an H as in white. And not known as a particularly smart guy. In fact, often ridiculed much the way George W. Bush was. But there is Dan Quayle saying hello to a number of different people. Did I see Kellyanne Conway's daughter posted a TikTok of Kellyanne hitting her last night? I did not. Let's see. Claudia Conway TikTok. Post disturbing TikTok showing mom hitting her. Yikes. Wow. Yeah, I mean, we're not gonna do that right now, but that sounds pretty bonkers. Greetings from your neighbor up north. Very happy with Biden rejecting the pipeline. We respect the land of our indigenous people. Here's a message in Spanish from Andrés, who says, Por fin llegó el día. Gracias, David, por todo tu trabajo. No lo hubiera logrado sin ti. Which means finally the day is here. Thanks, David, for your work. I wouldn't have been able to make it without you. Beautiful message. Beautiful Spanish message. David, where's the salmon shirt? Oh, I put it in the fridge with some haddock and cod. I work with right-wingers. God help me. Yeah, Vince, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for a little while. No doubt about that. The deficit and pandemic deaths are now the worst thing ever in history on Fox News and Newsmax. Wait for it. Yeah, so Joe Biden's scheduled to be sworn in at 12. At 12:05, you will hear about how every coronavirus death is Joe Biden's fault. That is what we were expecting. Big thank you to Matt Lopresti for signing up at joinpacman.com. Regine Hurtaloo. Nian Nareen. I'm struggling with some of these names. Danielle Watts, of course. Adam Weston and Chris Salden. Also a thank you to Sherry Bowling, putting us at 95. 95. Oh my goodness, there's 3 more. These will just not stop dumping in. Junt Lee has signed up. Howard Chen and Ra Miller, or R.A. Miller, putting us at 98. There is former President William Jefferson Clinton and Hillary Rodham Clinton. Reportedly, Hillary not bringing any bleached hard drives with her, not hiding any emails, not stuffing any paper trails into her pantsuit, just showing up to see the swearing in of Joe Biden. Former President Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton arriving here. Somehow she managed to avoid prison for the last 4 years. You know, it was looking pretty tough there for a second. I mean, okay, there was no investigation or possibility of charges or charges being investigated or charges drawn up or charges predicted or charges announced or anything. But it really looked tough for a second there that she might end up locked up, as so many so-called populist right-wingers wanted to see. And we will soon presumably see George W. Bush and Laura Bush arrive, as well as Barack H. Obama and Michelle Obama. A lot happening here. A lot happening here. David, hope it's a good morning on your end. How does it feel knowing you no longer have to cover the antics of the stale chicken nugget Trump? I'm looking forward to it. And by the way, tomorrow on the show, I've been preparing this for a couple of days. Frank Luntz did a focus group with some Trumpists to figure out like how you could deprogram them. And it's really scary. Really, really scary. People are telling me the Joe Biden Facebook stream is really good and it has some behind the scenes things.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 42nd President of the United States, the Honorable William J. Clinton and the Honorable Hillary...
There is George W. Bush. I think we may keep it here for now, just not to be flipping back and forth between things. There is Bill Clinton. Hillary Clinton. Participating, doing their best to keep this a peaceful transfer of power, despite Donald Trump's absolutely best intentions. Thanks to the 20 folks who just grabbed Twitch subs. I appreciate that, including great people like, here we go, Avnar, Johnny Marv, Short Brief, Dedrick, and Splatterakes, as we see George W. Bush and Laura Bush arrive as well. Fist bumps from George W. Bush, who has become close friends with the Obamas over the last several years. There we have James Clyburn speaking to... Who is he speaking to? Who's the guy in the white hair whose face is blocked? I can't quite tell. Oh, it's Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton there. A lot happening here as we build to the swearing in of Joe Biden. Beautiful traditional grip snare drum technique happening. You really couldn't ask for better traditional grip on that left hand there. Here is former President Barack Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama, who still enjoys approval ratings that really make Melania Trump look very bad. And as I mentioned earlier, Melania Trump and Donald Trump leaving office with the lowest approval ratings in history. In the polling era, before, I mean, listen, in 1820, maybe there was somebody less popular, but we wouldn't know it. We didn't have modern polling, of course. Soon Barack Obama will enter. And don't worry, guys, we'll get the audio. I'm going to have perfect audio once this actually starts. These are just announcements of the people coming in, and we can tell who this is. This is George W. Bush with a very windy entrance, as you can see. Laura Bush as well. And many, many people on the left and right happy to see Donald Trump finally go. That's not Dick Cheney, is it? That wasn't Dick Cheney. Or was it? I mean, I don't know. See this guy right here? Is that Cheney? Oh, I think it might be Dick Cheney. Yeah. The war criminal contingent entering at this point in time. Clearly an Illuminati symbol on Michelle Obama's belt. Yes, exactly. Did Pence and Ivanka attend the inauguration? Ivanka isn't even invited. I heard the funniest thing. There was like an announcement made that Ivanka will not be attending. I'm not aware that Ivanka was invited. Very strange. But Mike Pence will be here. He is expected to be here, yeah. Great pronunciation of my name earlier. Yes, Regine Hurtaloo. Just subscribed on Twitch and your website. Been a fan for a while. No better day than today to join. Thank you for being great. No, thank you, Regine. I appreciate that. People are asking if the member count is accurate. It is not. It is not. Somehow I got 1188. It is 118. But let's make it even more accurate. Let me.
The 44th President of the United States.
The announcement of Barack Obama.
Barack H. Obama and Mrs. Michelle Obama.
Big thank you to Ellen Meschenberg. Thanks, Ellen, for the sub. Also, thanks to Mats Axelson, Adrian Trogler. Big thank you to Rashid Idrisi, Dustin Wagner, and Tara Stano. Very much appreciate that. It really is a special day. It's in the coupon code, Better21. We're starting and looking for a Better 21. Here's Barack Obama greeting Chuck Schumer and James Clyburn. This to me feels like the type of event where Lindsey Graham would try to interject into the handshakes between people who like each other, and kind of you'd see him in the back sort of trying to get a handshake from someone, and people not too thrilled with Lindsey's presence. And there is Michelle Obama, Steve Scalise there, speaking to George W. Bush, or not really, maybe speaking to Laura Bush more than anything else. After bringing a Confederate flag into the Capitol, can the Republican Party still call themselves the Party of Lincoln? Well, they were calling themselves that regardless.
John G. Roberts Jr. and the Associate Justices of the Supreme Court.
Supreme Court filing in. Here is the Supreme Court, led by Chief Justice John Roberts, followed by, looks like Sonia Sotomayor. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that's Sonia Sotomayor. Elena Kagan, then. Neil Gorsuch. This is tougher with the masks. Lunatic Brett Kavanaugh. And then the absolutely disgusting Amy COVID Barrett, known for the super spreader event. There's John Roberts. Yikes. This is some pretty vile stuff, not gonna lie. You look happy, David, feeling what we are all feeling, a collective sigh of relief. Yeah, listen, there is a sigh of relief that Trump is gone, and yet we know that now is when it starts.
Imhoff and Ella Rose Imhoff.
Okay. Now we are getting to some of the kids of the different folks. And we are building. Howard Stern apparently doing the public address, as you could hear. Some people noticing that. That's a joke, by the way. That's a joke. Can't wait to see how many political events Trump won't be invited to. Yeah, I've spoken about this before. The Trump family is about to re-enter a world where the social circles that they just barely qualified for 4 years ago are going to reject them in great to a significant degree. And that's going to be, I guess, tough for them, but who cares? Look at that lunatic Brett Kavanaugh. What a disgusting person. Horrifying that he's even involved in government. Really, really bad. Just absolutely horrible. There's Amy Covid Barrett. Newest Supreme Court Justice, of course. Hopefully she will have absolutely no role to play in this. Yeah, this is a mix of horror and joy because we're reminded of all of the lunatics that are still involved in government. And that's a very scary thing. My wife had her first baby appointment today and I couldn't join because of COVID and our lame president. I had to watch her tear up as she walked in. Only saving grace is that Trump is finally done. Let's move on, please. Yes, and congratulations on the new baby. Anytime I see W now, all I can think of is, are you wearing your big boy shirt from that bad lip reading video of Trump's inauguration? This feels like when the Munchkins sing Ding Dong the Witch is Dead. Oh, here we have more. I believe these are some of Biden's grandkids. And let's see, who is this? Is that Hunter? A lot of very interesting people here. Oh, sorry, I know I'm falling behind. Thanks to Mary Grabhorn, as well as Veronica Zerdeva, Amy Trudeau, and Jose Carlos Aguilar Paz. New members at joinpacman.com, putting us at 132. Also, thanks to Ryan and Two and Cora Bikini and Candy Soda Poppin' and all these different people via Twitch. Very much appreciate it. More Biden family arriving. And remember, for people confused about the schedule, it is now almost 11 a.m. in the East, 8 a.m. in the West. The ceremony starts at 11:15. The swearing in itself at noon. At noon. And there you see Neil Gorsuch, Amy Covid Barrett, and Brett Kavanaugh. Sonia Sotomayor here. There's John Roberts. Very important day. Donald Trump missing but not noticeably absent. That's the way I'm putting it. Missing but not noticeably absent. We are better off without him there.
Robert Hunter Biden II and Ashley Blazer Biden, also the grandchildren of the president-elect.
Yeah, so this is Hunter Biden and Ashley Biden. People wondering where's Hunter? Well, he's right there. No laptops on him. Period. I don't know where I was going with that. But there is Hunter Biden. I wonder how many times during this Trump will pick up his phone to tweet and think, oh, wait. Yeah. There is Barack Obama filing in. Wow, what a day. Really, what a day. Welcome to everybody. It is the top of the hour. I'm so glad you're joining us. There is Vice President Mike Pence and his Karen, his wife, sorry. That was a Freudian slip. Mike Pence and his wife, Karen. And they are here, period. And I don't think there's that much else to say about it. We are 15 minutes from the start of the inauguration ceremony and about 45 minutes from a new president. 45 minutes from officially Donald Trump being a former president. And yes, let's go to a 20-minute ad break starting now. I'm kidding. I wouldn't do that to you guys. I would not do that. There is Mike Pence, though, in all seriousness, filing in. Congrats to all Americans, says Josefa. You made it. So happy to have you back. Dem Studio says, would you collab with Beau of the Fifth Column? Sure. Yeah, sure, if he was interested in that. David, Trump's daughter wanted to go with her husband, but when Trump heard she was going to go, Trump told her she couldn't, and she backed off. No loss there. Yeah, we need Ivanka Trump out of anything relating to government. And I fear she may try to get back in, to be perfectly frank. I think she's desperate to get back in. A lot of memberships happening right now. I want to say thanks to Jarvis Sampson for signing up at joinpacman.com. Also, Robert Koch. Nick Baldwin has signed up. Sullivan Sizer has signed up. And Cheryl White. All new members at joinpacman.com. We are starting fresh, my friends. The new coupon code, BETTER21. We're all hoping for a BETTER21 starting today. And this is just the beginning. Just the beginning. And I invite you to grab a membership at joinpacman.com as we will see a transition. I can't say it's completely peaceful because of what Donald Trump has done, but it will not be held up by violence at the Capitol. It will not be held up by any of it. A little mask down situation from a sort of Ted Kennedy dead ringer. A dead ringer for Ted Kennedy. Not Ted Kennedy, of course, the late senator.
Ladies and gentlemen, accompanying the Vice President, the Secretary of the Senate, the Honorable Julie E. Adams, and Chief Administrative Officer of the House of Representatives, Catherine Spindor.
Right. Yes, a lot happening, as you can see. And we are building here to the inauguration of Joe Biden. We have almost total mask compliance. A few people pulling it down and doing it more as a throat covering, like a scarf, but that's okay. I am excited to be bored with Biden. Love from Norway. Thanks. Yeah, no, that's a good point. I'm here for the massive dumps of memberships. Became a member last year. You helped me make it through the madness. Thank you. Yeah, massive memberships have been dumped throughout the day. It is really something else. Brandy Woodford just dumping a membership. Dominic Schmidt as well, putting us at 147. And we are getting very close, my friends. I don't remember what they do for 45 minutes between the start of the ceremony. Oh, here we go. Whoa.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Vice President of the United States, the Honorable Michael R. Pence and Mrs. Karen Pence.
Oh, give me a break. It's the world's biggest loser behind only Donald Trump. Donald Trump, of course, presiding over the loss of the House of Representatives Republican control in 2018, the loss of Senate control by Republicans in 2020, making himself a one-term president and also one of the worst global failures on coronavirus. Second only to Trump as the biggest loser is Mike Pence, who, remember how he was running that coronavirus task force? That didn't go so well. Mike Pence shaking hands with James Clyburn, with Laura Bush and George W. Bush, as you can see. Very perfunctory and not particularly warm greetings from the former Republican president. Mike Pence denounced by his own president, Donald Trump, on January 6th, a very unusual and bizarre event. But everything's been bizarre and unusual, quite frankly. Unclear if there will be any Space Force Guardians of the Galaxy attending today, but that remains to be seen. David, couldn't watch this with anyone but you. Thank you so much. Let's all bask in the Trumplessness. Do you think there's any chance of the Biden administration prosecuting Trump? Listen, Joe Biden should not be in any way involved. The Justice Department should look at evidence. They should look at complaints, and they should make determinations based on the facts. That's it. It should not be political. The enabler, Mr. Pence. Here he is. Yeah. Well said. Very much well said. Thanks to Venezuelan Jedi and Tilapia Jack and 10 other folks who just grabbed Twitch subscriptions. I appreciate that very much. Also, thank you to, I'm barely able to keep up with the membership dumps. Let me try. Nicole Herrera, Isabel Bonneau, Paul Chown, Jake Roberts, Joanna Dawn, and Sigurd Melve have signed up on my website. Also, Thayer Trotter and Rhonda Schminke, and lastly, Justin Pomar. So a lot happening there. I do want to make an announcement. I have finished watching season 1 of Lupin on Netflix. It is one of the best shows I've seen. Yes, people asking if I've seen the show. It is absolutely fantastic. And I can't wait for season 2. Big thank you as well. Yeah, I'm barely able to keep up, so we may have to get away from these thank yous. Joaquim Holmblad, Christopher Garofoli, Clarissa Monica, Daniel Kazda has signed up, Alan Morell, and Danny Chi. Big thank yous to all of you. Very much appreciate that. There is Debbie Wasserman Schultz, I think. Anyway, I hope I'm not getting that wrong. There is George W. Bush near Mike Pence. James Clyburn in the background, as you can see. Bush and Pence now talking. Who knows what they're talking about? Does Bush address that Pence has been part of enabling one of the most incompetent and weaponized administrations in history? Or do they just talk about, did you see that cool psalm? I don't know. Big thank you to Greg Robb, who just grabbed a membership. Appreciate that, Greg, very much. Also, thanks to Sia W, who is gifting subs like their water on Twitch. Another 9 folks just signed up there. Amazing. I predict that 2021 for us will be the year of Twitch. I think it will be a big, big year for us on Twitch. A platform suited for the times, certainly. Thanks for the coverage, David. Much to do, but we made it through Trump. Yeah, I'm thinking about it as now we can get to work, and that's a good thing. We've not solved anything by getting rid of Trump, but now we can actually get to work. And that's a very, very important thing. If you're just joining us, we should be just a few minutes away from the start of the inauguration ceremony, the swearing in itself scheduled for the top of the hour. Who is that? Looks vaguely familiar, but I'm not sure who that is. Is that A-Rod? Is that really Alex Rodriguez? That is hilarious. It's really Alex Rodriguez. That's amazing. What is he doing here? I don't even know. I want to say thanks to Oliver Wilde for the very generous $50 super chat. Says, David, I'm very much looking forward to this next chapter for America and the David Pakman Show. It feels good to be hopeful once again. Yeah. Here's Brian Coldy. My brother-in-law by marriage, once removed. Love the show. Here is to 2021. Make sure you sub. Thank you so much. Coldy coming in out of nowhere with a strong super chat. Great to see you. Dom says, love your show and the Teddy Stratford shirts. Yeah. This is not one of those shirts. As you can see, there's actually buttons. The Teddy Stratford shirt's known for the zipper, but this is not a Teddy Stratford shirt. It is buttons all the way down. Very, very exciting stuff. It's shirt fraud. Yeah, it's a fraudulent shirt. I don't recognize these folks coming in now, to be perfectly frank. But I'm certain they're very, very important. There we do recognize the moments from being Vice President Kamala Harris and the soon-to-be second gentleman, Douglas Emhoff. That was Eugene Goodman. Oh, wow. That's important. That's important. There is Kamala. She will be the first female Vice President of the United States. Very, very exciting day. Exciting in a lot of different ways. What a day. What a day. She will soon be introduced. Thanks to Adjective Pants and others for the Twitch subs. Appreciate it. It's so great to see everybody here today. Alex Rodriguez is there because J-Lo is performing. Beautiful. Beautiful. I love it. Very nice. Thanks to Philip Key for signing up on my website. Chrissy Tazar as well. Eleni Papanikolas has signed up, as has Nick Myers. Thanks to Peter E. Jones as well as Diana Ubila. Big thank you to James Andrews and April Ortiz for the website memberships. Angela Edelkamp and Lisa Thorne. And wow, Farak Masood and Steve Hoyt. What a day. That is really an incredible day. Putting us at 201.
Of inaugural ceremonies, Maria Miller-Lohmeyer, the acting Deputy House Sergeant-at-Arms, Kevin Grubbs, and the acting Deputy Senate Sergeant-at-Arms, United States Capitol Police Officer Private First Class Eugene O. Goodman.
Nice. Eugene Goodman, there he is. I believe the reason that there are acting secretaries at arms is because the ones previously resigned over their mishandling of the Trump riots on January 6th. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yes, as many of you are noticing, there is no Trump here. He is absent but not missing. He is missing, but I'm not feeling his absence. It really feels like it would be wrong for Trump to be here. His presidency has been so disgusting. I think it's great that he's not here, quite frankly. He would just be a distraction. Thanks to Sean Dawson for making a pledge on Patreon. We'll count patrons. We'll count patrons towards the goal.
The United States, Kamala Harris and Mr. Douglas Emhoff.
Here comes the soon-to-be Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris. We are now getting to it, scheduled to start in 3 minutes. The incoming second gentleman, Douglas Emhoff, who has left his job to be supportive of Kamala Harris as VP in his capacity as second gentleman. It is really getting started. Mike Pence clapping now, perfunctory. An historic moment, a historic moment, an historic moment. It is all of the above. Wow. It's happening. Greeting the former President Barack Obama. It is happening. Wow. What a day. The super chats, people very excited. They're flying in. Buffalo asks, I heard Trump paid a huge amount for the inaugural luncheon catering by McDonald's. Can you comment if attendees will get multiple nugget sauces? No. Trump is so cheap that you will either have a barbecue or honey mustard for the nuggets. It's not going to be both. It's one or the other. You're going to have to make your pick. And that is it. That is it. You will have a choice of sauce. That is it. Trump apparently hoarding the sweet and sour as well. Big thank you to Dane Howell. Wow, I'm going to have to run through these. Veronica Martinez. Michael Harkins signed up on my website. Russ Thalheimer. Stephen Heap. Thomas Brandegard. Keith Harrington, as well as Guion Branch. And Dane Howell. Wow. Incredible what's happening. Also, big thanks to the 11 additional Twitch subscribers, putting us at 220. People responding and very rapidly going to 306, which is the number of electoral votes Joe Biden received. Based on the paper schedule, and we will see if this administration is more timely than the Trump one was, we are 1 minute from the scheduled entrance of soon-to-be President Joe Biden. 1 minute from the entrance. Wow. Do I have any guesses what Trump wrote in his letter to Biden? No. I assume it was written in crayon or Sharpie, but I don't know the content of it. I don't know. Did you see the article that showed Melania is the most unpopular first lady to leave office? I did. I talked about it at the top of the stream, and we've got a clip coming up on YouTube as well. Trump, the least popular president in the polling era. Melania, the least popular first lady. David, my boyfriend is a huge fan. His name is Sam, and if you said his name, he'll be surprised. He's listening to you at work, and I'm at home. Much love. Nicola Messina, having me send a shout out to Sam. Yes, Sam, I'm glad you're watching. As we see,
Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies, Staff Representative Alexandria Gordikan-DeCicco.
Yes, as we await, as we see the soon-to-be Vice President Kamala Harris, and we'll soon see the entrance of soon-to-be President Joe Biden. So glad everybody is here and joining me.
Staff Representative Kate Knudsen, accompanying Speaker of the House of Representatives, the Honorable Nancy Pelosi and Mr. Paul Pelosi. Staff Representative Lindsey Kerr, accompanying the Honorable Amy Klobuchar and Mr. John Bessler. Staff Representative Stephanie Hager-Mucko, accompanying Senate Majority Leader, the Honorable Mitch McConnell, and the Honorable Elaine L. Chao. And Staff
There's nothing honorable about Mitch McConnell.
accompanying the Chairman of the Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies.
Disgusting, depraved obstructor Mitch McConnell is more like it. There is the soon-to-be President Joe Biden, Dr. Jill Biden. Did you guys know Jill Biden's not a medical doctor? A lot of right-wingers very focused on that over the last few weeks. Not a medical doctor. Very important, apparently. I know, it's ridiculous. Could you imagine if Trump won and we got another 4 years? Disasters. Big fan of yours. Thanks for the excellent show. Amsterdam. Hey, David, I just signed up. It's Guyon. Okay, I apologize.
Port! Arms! Forward! Halt!
Many QAnon folks shocked that Joe Biden isn't being carried in to this and is able to walk under his own power. I know that that comes as a surprise to many of the people that are, you know, susceptible to certain delusions that we've seen. And we will soon see the entrance of Joe Biden, who is just minutes. Oh, and it's snowing in Washington, D.C. Wow. Thanks, David, for all you do. The note Trump left is probably blank with a Sharpie next to it.
Ladies and gentlemen, accompanying the President-elect, the Staff Director of the Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies, Fitzhugh Elder IV, the Acting House Senate Sergeant-at-Arms, Tim Blodgett, and the Acting Senate Sergeant-at-Arms, Jennifer Hemingway.
Yes. I guess if I had to guess, I'd say the note, the letter that Trump left Biden, is an electoral map with certain states Biden won Sharpied in with a red Sharpie by Trump. That would be my guess as to what's in the letter. It's more of a visual letter. Thanks to Daniel Bowers for the sub. Thanks to Sean Scott as well. Charles Hines and Valentin Kroll. Loretta Flug and Koa Blevins. And also a big thank you to Jake Sullivan. Lots of great people. I'm recognizing a lot of these names.
Gentlemen, the President-elect of the United States, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr.
Here we go.
Dr. Jill Biden.
Doctor, oh no, the conservatives are triggered. Greeting the former president. There is depraved lunatic Brett Kavanaugh clapping. What a day.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
And we are starting. Just 5 minutes behind schedule, often the case, in order to make sure the swearing in happens after noon as prescribed by the Constitution.
Please welcome the Honorable Amy Klobuchar.
Amy Klobuchar about to clobber these guys.
Vice President Pence, Mr. President-elect, Madam Vice President-elect, members of Congress and the judicial branch, former presidents and first ladies, vice presidents, leaders from abroad, and a whole bunch of Bidens. America, welcome to the 59th presidential inauguration, where in just a few moments, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will take their solemn oaths. This ceremony is the culmination of 244 years of a democracy. It is the moment when leaders brought to this stage by the will of the people promise to be faithful to our Constitution, to cherish it and defend it. It is the moment when they become, as we all should be, guardians of our country. Have we become too jaded, too accustomed to the ritual of the passing of the torch of democracy to truly appreciate what a blessing and a privilege it is to witness this moment? I think not. 2 weeks ago, when an angry, violent mob staged an insurrection and desecrated this temple of our democracy,
Right.
it awakened us to our responsibilities as Americans. This is the day when our democracy picks itself up, brushes off the dust, and does what America always does: goes forward as a nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Must be awkward for Pence. Oh my God, look at
This
McConnell.
conveyance of a sacred
Just the
trust
worst.
between our leaders and our people takes place in front of this shining Capitol dome for a reason. When Abraham Lincoln gave his first inaugural address in front of this Capitol, the dome was only partially constructed, braced by ropes of steel. He promised he would finish it. He was criticized for spending funds on it during the Civil War. To those critics, he replied, "If the people see the Capitol going on, it is a sign we intend the Union shall go on." And it did, and it will. Generations of Americans gave their lives to preserve our republic in this place. Great legislation to protect civil rights and economic security and lead the world was debated and crafted under this dome. Now it falls on all of us, not just the two leaders we are inaugurating today, to take up the torch of our democracy, not as a weapon of political arson, but as an instrument for good. We pledge today never to take our democracy for granted as we celebrate its remarkable strength. We celebrate its resilience, its grit. We celebrate the ordinary people doing extraordinary things for our nation, the doctors and nurses on the front line of this pandemic, the officers in the Capitol, a new generation never giving up hope for justice. We celebrate a new president, Joe Biden, who vows to restore the soul of America and cross the river of our divides to a higher plane. And we celebrate our first African American, first Asian American, and first woman vice president, Kamala Harris, who stands on the shoulders of so many on this platform who have forged the way to this day. When she takes the oath of office, little girls and boys across the world will know that anything and everything is possible. And in the end, that is America, our democracy, a country of so much good. And today, on these Capitol steps and before this glorious field of flags, we rededicate ourselves to its cause. Thank you.
Can you imagine that just during this we had to ban someone from Twitch for mandatory vaccination conspiracy theories? Can you imagine? Come on, guys.
So many others to make this ceremony possible. My friend and the chair of the inaugural committee, Missouri Senator Roy Blunt.
A lot of ban hammers being dropped. You do it because you have to, not because we want to.
Well, I should have known when Senator Klobuchar got involved, at least there'd be a touch of snow up here this morning. Of all the things we'd considered, I don't think snow was on my agenda till I walked out the door a moment ago. But thank you, Senator Klobuchar, and thanks to the other members
of the Joint Congressional Committee on the Inauguration as we officially begin the 59th inaugural ceremony. I also want to thank the Joint Committee staff and our partners, particularly our security partners, for the way they've dealt with unprecedented circumstances. When I chaired the inauguration 4 years ago, I shared President Reagan's 1981 description of this event as commonplace and miraculous. Commonplace because we've done it every 4 years since 1789. Miraculous because we've done it every 4 years since 1789. Americans have celebrated this moment during war, during depression, and now during pandemic. Once again, all three branches of our government come together as the Constitution envisions. Once again, we renew our commitment to our determined democracy, forging a more perfect union. That theme for this inauguration, our determined democracy, forging a more perfect union, was announced by the Joint Committee before the election with the belief that the United States can only fulfill its promise and set an example for others if we are always working to be better than we have been. The Constitution established that determined democracy with its first three words, declaring the people as the source of the government. The Articles of Confederation hadn't done that. The Magna Carta hadn't done that. Only the Constitution says the government exists because the people are the source of the reason it exists. They immediately followed those first three words with the words to form a more perfect union. The founders did not say to form a perfect union. They did not claim that in our new country nothing would need to be improved. Fortunately, they understood that always working to be better would be the hallmark of a great democracy. The freedoms we have today, the nation we have today, is not here just because it happened, and they aren't complete. A great democracy working through the successes and failures of our history, striving to be better than it had been. And we are more than we have been, and we are less than we hope to be. The assault on our Capitol at this very place just 2 weeks ago,
incited by many of
that
these
a government
clowns,
designed to balance and check itself, is both fragile and resilient. During the last year, the pandemic challenged our free and open society and called for extraordinary determination and sacrifice, and still challenges us today. Meeting that challenge head on have been and are healthcare workers, scientists, first responders, essential frontline workers, and so many others we depend on in so many ways. Today we come to this moment, people all over the world, as we're here, are watching and will watch what we do here. Our government comes together. The Congress and the courts join the transition of executive responsibility. One political party more pleased today and on every inaugural day than the other. But this is not a moment of division, it's a moment of unification. A new administration begins and brings with it a new beginning. And with that, our great national debate goes forward, and a determined democracy will continue to be essential in pursuit of a more perfect union and a better future for all Americans. What a privilege for me to join you today. Thank you.
For people asking why this is the 59th inauguration but not the 46th, many presidents got 2 terms, so they had 2 inaugurations.
Of the president-elect and his family, Father Leo O'Donovan, to lead us in an invocation. Please stand if you are able and remain standing for the national anthem and the pledge to our flag.
I'm not a big fan of the religious components, but we are carrying the entire inauguration ceremony, and so we will.
Gracious and merciful God, at this sacred time we come before you in need, indeed on our knees. But we come still more with hope and with our eyes raised anew to the vision of a more perfect union in our land, a union of all our citizens to promote the general welfare and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. We are a people of many races, creeds, and colors, national backgrounds, cultures, and styles, now far more numerous and on land much vaster than when Archbishop John Carroll wrote his prayer for the inauguration of George Washington 232 years ago. Archbishop Carroll prayed that you, O Creator of all, would assist with your Holy Spirit of counsel and fortitude the President of these United States, that his administration may be conducted in righteousness and be eminently useful to your people. Today we confess our past failures to live according to our vision of equality, inclusion, and freedom for all. Yet we resolutely commit still more now to renewing the vision, to caring for one another in word and deed, especially the least fortunate among us, and so becoming a light for the world. There is a power in each and every one of us that lives by turning to every other one of us, a thrust of the Spirit to cherish and care and stand by others, and above all, those most in need. It is called love, and its path is to give ever more of itself. Today, it is called American patriotism, born not of power and privilege, but of care for the common good, with malice toward none and with charity for all. For our new president, we beg of you the wisdom Solomon sought when he knelt before you and prayed for an understanding heart so that I can govern your people and know the difference between right and wrong. We trust in the counsel of the letter of James. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. Pope Francis has reminded us how important it is to dream together. By ourselves, he wrote, we risk seeing mirages, things that are not there. Dreams, on the other hand, are built together. Be with us, holy mystery of love, as we dream together. Help us under our new president to reconcile the people of our land, restore our dream and invest it with peace and justice and the joy that is the overflow of love. To the glory of your name, forever, amen.
Okay. Not a part of the ceremony I find necessary, but all right.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the presentation of our national colors by the Armed Forces Color Guard, the singing of our national anthem, and for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Down to the last half hour, Biden will be eligible for swearing in 25 minutes, and it will probably happen in about a half hour. A lot of messages from folks saying this should be a secular event. I agree. I don't expect we will see YMCA played, no. Now consider that there are still at this moment people who think something will happen between now and 12:05 Eastern that will lead to Biden being in prison.
Gentlemen, here for the singing of our national anthem, accompanied by the President's own United States Marine Band, please welcome Lady Gaga.
Very strong event. Gotta have a gold microphone, obviously. A gilded mic.
Broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming.
Wow, Lady Gaga delivering the national anthem. A pledge of allegiance to the flag coming soon. And then we will be very close to the inauguration of Joe Biden. And there goes Lady Gaga. At one point, you could see Mike Pence in the background. It was awkward.
Please welcome from the city of South Fulton, Georgia Fire and Rescue Department, President of the International Association of Firefighters, Local 3920, Fire Captain Andrea M. Hall, for the reciting of the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
What you are all about to be part of, America, is a historic moment of firsts.
And historic.
To administer the oath to our first African American, our first Asian American, and our first woman vice president, Kamala Harris, it is my great privilege to welcome to the inaugural stage the first Latina to ever serve on the Supreme Court of the United States of America, Justice Sonia Sotomayor.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the oath of office, followed by musical honors.
We are moments from Vice President Kamala Harris. Mitch McConnell in the background, disgusted.
And repeat after me. I, Kamala Davy Harris.
It's Kamala. Oh my God.
Kamala Davy Harris, do solemnly swear
Oh,
that
she
I
said
will
it wrong.
support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
That I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
That I will well and faithfully discharge
that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Kamala Harris, now the Vice President of the United States. Wow. QAnon accounts everywhere folding and being canceled as people don't understand she was supposed to be in prison. Biden was supposed to be in prison. What is happening? Unable to cope.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Please welcome Jennifer Lopez to perform This Land Is Your Land and America the Beautiful, accompanied by members of the President's own United States Marine Band.
Wow. What a day. If you're just joining us, Trump has 15 minutes left as president.
This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Islands, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As I went walking down that ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me. Oh, this land, oh, this land. This land was made for you and me. Oh, this land, oh, this land. like good with brotherhood. From sea to shining sea.
Una nación bajo Dios, indivisible, con libertad y justicia para todos.
Let's get live.
Right.
'Cause this land was made for you and me.
All right, there is Jennifer Lopez. At this exact moment, the White House is being sprayed down and deep cleaned to remove not only the stink, but the germs of the Trump administration that Joe Biden will soon be inhabiting.
The sun is shining, and Mr. President-elect, this is the first inauguration in the history of America where J-Lo was the warm-up act for Chief Justice Roberts. With that, it
That's
is
not bad,
now
actually.
my distinct honor to introduce the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States, John Roberts, to administer the presidential oath to the next President of the United States, Joseph R. Biden.
Do you think there are Trumpists who will say this is invalid because it's happening before noon? I'm worried that actually there will be Trumpists who say that.
Please raise your right hand and
Here we
repeat
go.
after me. I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear
I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the office of President of the United States
the office of President of the United States,
and will, to the best of my ability,
will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr.
Thank you.
President.
Joe Biden, now President of the United States. The national nightmare. Oh, I was expecting Macho Man to play. The national nightmare of 4 years of Trump is officially over. President Joe Biden is now president. Donald Trump is now a former president. We will hear momentarily from Joe Biden, a speech expected to last 20 to 30 minutes. Wow. And it will be right to work. Joe Biden expected to sign a number of executive orders. We're expecting a press briefing at 7 p.m. This is a work day. And rightly so. There is really no time to waste. Quite the opposite, in fact.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Pence despondent.
Biden even shows this is
Where's that even coming from? Sorry. Oh, my goodness. I don't even know where that came from. That was weird. That was the song for Kamala. Oh, boy. Oh, man. What a day. Do people want that song until it starts?
In America, Kamala.
Kind of makes sense, actually.
Kamala Harris. Democrat. Kamala.
Okay, anyway.
My fellow Americans, a moment we have all been waiting for.
I'll say.
It is now my great privilege and high honor to be the first person to officially introduce the 46th President of the United States, Joseph R. Biden Jr.
President Joe Biden will be addressing the country for the first time as president. Everything has been disinfected. Wow.
Chief Justice Roberts, Vice President Harris,
Right.
Speaker Pelosi, Leader Schumer, Leader McConnell, Vice President Pence, my distinguished guests, my fellow Americans. This is America's day. This is democracy's day, a day of history and hope, of renewal and resolve. Through a crucible for the ages, America has been tested anew, and America has risen to the challenge. Today, we celebrate the triumph not of a candidate, but of a cause, the cause of democracy. The people, the will of the people has been heard, and the will of the people has been heeded. We've learned again that democracy is precious, democracy is fragile, and at this hour, my friends, democracy has prevailed. So
Just
now,
barely, but yes.
on this hallowed ground where just a few days ago, violence sought to shake the Capitol's very foundation, we come together as one nation, under God, indivisible, to carry out the peaceful transfer of power as we have for more than 2 centuries. As we look ahead in our uniquely American way, restless, bold, optimistic, and set our sights on the nation we know we can be and we must be. I thank my predecessors of both parties for their presence here today. I thank them from the bottom of my heart.
Not Trump.
I know. And I know the resilience of our Constitution and the strength of our nation, as does President Carter, who I spoke with last night, who cannot be with us today, but whom we salute for his lifetime in service. I've just taken the sacred oath each of those patriots have taken, the oath first sworn by George Washington. But the American story depends not on any one of us, not on some of us, but on all of us, on we, the people, who seek a more perfect union. This is a great nation. We are good people. And over the centuries, through storm and strife, in peace and in war, we've come so far, but we still have far to go. We'll press forward with speed and urgency, for we have much to do in this winter of peril and significant possibilities. Much to repair, much to restore, much to heal, much to build, and much to gain.
Hopefully he doesn't even say the word Trump.
Few people in our nation's history have been more challenged or found a time more challenging or difficult than the time we're in now. Once-in-a-century virus that silently stalks the country has taken as many lives in 1 year as America lost in all of World War II. Millions of jobs have been lost. Hundreds of thousands of businesses closed. A cry for racial justice, some 400 years in the making, moves us. The dream of justice for all will be deferred no longer. A cry for survival comes from the planet itself. A cry that can't be any more desperate or any more clear. And now, a rise of political extremism, white supremacy, domestic terrorism that we must confront and we will defeat. To overcome these challenges, to restore the soul and secure the future of America, requires so much more than words. It requires the most elusive of all things in a democracy: unity. Unity. In another January, on New Year's Day in 1863, Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. When he put pen to paper, the president said, and I quote, "If my name ever goes down into history, it'll be for this act, and my whole soul is in it." My whole soul is in it. Today, on this January day, my whole soul is in this, bringing America together, uniting our people, uniting our nation. And I ask every American to join me in this cause. Uniting to fight the foes we face: anger, resentment and hatred, extremism, lawlessness, violence, disease, joblessness, and hopelessness. With unity, we can do great things, important things. We can right wrongs. We can put people to work in good jobs. We can teach our children in safe schools. We can overcome the deadly virus. We can reward work and rebuild the middle class and make health care secure for all. We can deliver racial justice, and we can make America once again the leading force for good in the world. I know speaking of unity can sound to some like a foolish fantasy these days. I know the forces that divide us are deep and they are real. But I also know they are not new. Our history has been a constant struggle between the American ideal that we're all are created equal and the harsh, ugly reality that racism, nativism, fear, demonization have long torn us apart. The battle is perennial, and victory is never assured. Through Civil War, the Great Depression, World War, 9/11, through struggle, sacrifice, and setbacks, our better angels have always prevailed. In each of these moments, enough of us have come together to carry all of us forward. And we can do that now. History, faith, and reason show the way of unity. We can see each other not as adversaries, but as neighbors. We can treat each other with dignity and respect. We can join forces, stop the shouting, and lower the temperature. For without unity, there is no peace, only bitterness and fury. No progress, only exhausting outrage. No nation, only a state of chaos. This is our historic moment of crisis and challenge, and unity is the path forward. And we must meet this moment as the United States of America. If we do that, I guarantee you we will not fail. We have never, ever, ever, ever failed in America when we've acted together. And so today, at this time, in this place, let's start afresh, all of us. Let's begin to listen to one another again, hear one another, see one another, show respect to one another. Politics doesn't have to be a raging fire, destroying everything in its path. Every disagreement doesn't have to be a cause for total war. And we must reject the culture in which facts themselves are manipulated and even manufactured.
Not something Pence can credibly clap for, and he's not clapping.
My fellow Americans, we have to be different than this. America has to be better than this. And I believe America is so much better than this. Just look around. Here we stand in the shadow of the Capitol Dome, as was mentioned earlier, completed amid the Civil War, when the Union itself was literally hanging in the balance. Yet we endured. We prevailed. Here we stand, looking out on the great mall where Dr. King spoke of his dream. Here we stand where 108 years ago, at another inaugural, thousands of protesters tried to block brave women marching for the right to vote. And today, we mark the swearing in of the first woman in American history elected to national office, Vice President Kamala Harris. Don't tell me things can't change. Here we stand across the Potomac from Arlington Cemetery, where heroes who gave the last full measure of devotion rest in eternal peace. And here we stand, just days after a riotous mob thought they could use violence to silence the will of the people, to stop the work of our democracy, to drive us from this sacred ground. It did not happen. It will never happen. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. Not ever.
Does Pence even clap for that?
Our campaign, I'm humbled by the faith you've placed in us. To all those who did not support us, let me say this. Hear me out as we move forward. Take a measure of me and my heart. And if you still disagree, so be it. That's democracy. That's America. The right to dissent peaceably within the guardrails of our republic is perhaps this nation's greatest strength. Yet hear me clearly. Disagreement must not lead to disunion. And I pledge this to you. I will be a president for all Americans. All Americans. And I promise you, I will fight as hard for those who did not support me as for those who did. Many centuries ago, St. Augustine, a saint of my church, wrote that a people was a multitude defined by the common objects of their love. Defined by the common objects of their love. What are the common objects we as Americans love that define us as Americans? I think we know. Opportunity, security, liberty, dignity, respect, honor, and yes, the truth. Recent weeks and months have taught us a painful lesson. There is truth and there are lies. Lies told for power and for profit. And each of us has a duty and a responsibility as citizens, as Americans, and especially as leaders. Leaders who have pledged to honor our Constitution and protect our nation.
Bill Clinton
to defend
sleeping.
the truth and defeat the lies. Look, I understand that many of my fellow Americans view the future with fear and trepidation. I understand they worry about their jobs. I understand, like my dad, they lay at bed at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering, can I keep my health care? Can I pay my mortgage? Thinking about their families, about what comes next. I promise you, I get it. But the answer is not to turn inward, to retreat into competing factions, distrusting those who don't look like you, or worship the way you do, or don't get their news from the same sources you do. We must end this uncivil war that pits red against blue, rural versus urban, rural versus urban, conservative versus liberal. We can do this if we open our souls instead of hardening our hearts, if we show a little tolerance and humility, and if we're willing to stand in the other person's shoes, as my mom would say, just for a moment, stand in their shoes. Because here's the thing about life. There's no accounting for what fate will deal you. Some days, when you need a hand. There are other days when we're called to lend a hand. That's how it has to be. That's what we do for one another. And if we are this way, our country will be stronger, more prosperous, more ready for the future. And we can still disagree. My fellow Americans, in the work ahead of us, we're going to need each other. We need all our strength to persevere through this dark winter. We're entering what may be the toughest and deadliest period of the virus. We must set aside politics and finally face this pandemic as one nation. One nation. And I promise you this, as the Bible says, weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. We will get through this together. Together. Look, folks, all my colleagues I serve with in the House and the Senate up here, we all understand the world is watching all of us today. So here's my message to those beyond our borders. America has been tested, and we've come out stronger for it. We will repair our alliances and engage with the world once again.
Glad he's mentioning that.
Not to meet yesterday's challenges, but today's and tomorrow's challenges.
Awkward for Pence.
And we'll lead not merely by the example of our power, but by the power of our example. We'll be a strong and trusted partner for peace, progress, and security. Look, you all know we've been through so much in this nation. And my first act as president, I'd like to ask you to join me in a moment of silent prayer. Remember all those who we lost in this past year to the pandemic.
Wow.
Those 400,000.
Not something Trump did.
Moms, dads, husbands, wives, sons, daughters, friends, neighbors, and co-workers. We'll honor them by becoming the people and the nation we know we can and should be. So I ask you, let's say a silent prayer for those who've lost their lives and those left behind, and for our country.
More recognition for those 400,000 than what we saw sincerely from Trump the entire time.
Folks, this is a time of testing. We face an attack on our democracy and on truth, a raging virus, growing inequity, the sting of systemic racism, a climate in crisis, America's role in the world. Any one of these would be enough to challenge us in profound ways. But the fact is, we face them all at once, presenting this nation with one of the gravest responsibilities we've had. Now we're going to be tested. Are we going to step up, all of us? It's time for boldness, for there's so much to do. And this is certain. I promise you, we will be judged, you and I, by how we resolve these cascading crises of our era. We will rise to the occasion is the question. Will we master this rare and difficult hour? Will we meet our obligations and pass along a new and better world to our children? I believe we must. I'm sure you do as well. I believe we will. And when we do, we'll write the next great chapter in the history of the United States of America, the American story. A story that might sound something like a song that means a lot to me. It's called American Anthem. There's one verse that stands out, at least for me, and it goes like this. The work and prayers of century have brought us to this day. What shall be our legacy? What will our children say? Let me know in my heart when my days are through. America, America, I gave my best to you. Let's us add our own work and prayers to the unfolding story of our great nation. If we do this, then when our days are through, our children and our children's children will say of us, they gave their best, they did their duty, they healed a broken land. My fellow Americans, I close the day where I began, with the sacred oath. Before God and all of you, I give you my word. I will always level with you. I will defend the Constitution. I'll defend our democracy. I'll defend America. And I'll give all of you, keep everything I do in your service, thinking not of power, but of possibilities, not of personal interest, but the public good. And together, we shall write an American story of hope, not fear, of unity, not division, of light, not darkness, a story of decency and dignity, love and healing, greatness and goodness. May this be the story that guides us, the story that inspires us, and the story that tells ages yet to come that we answered the call of history. We met the moment. Democracy and hope, truth and justice did not die on our watch, but thrived. That America secured liberty at home and stood once again as a beacon to the world. That is what we owe our forebears, one another, and generation to follow. So, with purpose and resolve, we turn to those tasks of our time, sustained by faith, driven by conviction, and devoted to one another and the country we love with all our hearts. May God bless America, and may God protect our troops. Thank you, America.
And with that, we are past the stroke of noon Eastern time, and there is a new president. Joe Biden is now the president of the United States. Kamala Harris now the vice president of the United States. Trump is done. Trump is gone. Trump delivering some screeds this morning on his way to Palm Beach, Florida, and opting not to even stick around. Not to even stick around. Some of the things mentioned by Biden really put
please be seated.
Pence in sort of a weird position, talking about the riot. That was his supporters. Talking about misinformation. That's his administration that was putting it out there.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Garth Brooks to perform Amazing Grace.
Garth Brooks, of course, declined to perform for Trump, saying it was a scheduling conflict and that this is not political for him. It was merely a scheduling conflict that prevented him from doing this 4 years ago. Do we believe that? I don't know.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost,
Strong Secret Service
but
shot.
now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've known God's praise than when we first begun. If I can ask you to sing this last verse with me, not just the people here, but the people at home, at work, as one, united. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
Hence not singing.
I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
And there he goes, Garth Brooks. I'm confused because Biden was going to cancel religion, but there's been a lot of references to God in prayers here.
Hard not to be reminded of
Hugging everyone with no mask, okay. Tested, I'm sure, right?
Hard not to be reminded of President Obama's singing that same song at the Mother Emanuel Church.
Right.
A song that in our culture is as close to both poetry and prayer as you could possibly come. And we're going to finish with those two things. Let me introduce Amanda Gorman, our nation's first ever National Poet Laureate.
Mr. President, Dr. Biden, Madam Vice President, Mr. Emhoff, Americans, and the world. When day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, a sea we must wade. We've braved the belly of the beast. We've learned that quiet isn't always peace, in the norms and notions of what just isn't always just is. And yet the dawn is hours before we knew it. Somehow we do it. Somehow we've weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished. We, the successors of a country and a time where a skinny black girl descended from slaves and raised by a single mother can dream of becoming president, only to find herself reciting for one. And yes, we are far from polished, far from pristine, but that doesn't mean we are striving to form a union that is perfect. We are striving to forge our union with purpose, to compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions of man. And so we lift our gazes not to what stands between us, but what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first, we must first put our differences aside. We lay down our arms so we can reach out our arms to one another. We seek harm to none and harmony for all. Let the globe, if nothing else, say this is true. That even as we grieved, we grew, that even as we hurt, we hoped, that even as we tired, we tried, that we'll forever be tied together, victorious, not because we will never again know defeat, but because we will never again sow division. Scripture tells us to envision that everyone shall sit under their own vine and fig tree, and no one shall make them afraid. If we're to live up to our own time, then victory won't lie in the blade, but in all the bridges we've made. That is the promised glade, the hill we climb, if only we dare it, because being American is more than a pride we inherit. It's the past we step into and how we repair it. We've seen a force that would shatter our nation rather than share it, would destroy our country if it meant delaying democracy. And this effort very nearly succeeded. But while democracy can be periodically delayed, it can never be permanently defeated. In this truth, in this faith we trust, for while we have our eyes on the future, history has its eyes on us. This is the era of just redemption. We feared it at its inception. We did not feel prepared to be the heirs of such a terrifying hour, but within it we found the power to author a new chapter, to offer hope and laughter to ourselves. So, while once we asked, how could we possibly prevail over catastrophe? Now we assert, how could catastrophe possibly prevail over us? We will not march back to what was, but move to what shall be, a country that is bruised but whole, benevolent but bold, fierce and free. We will not be turned around or interrupted by intimidation, because we know our inaction and inertia will be the inheritance of the next generation. Our blunders become their burdens. But one thing is certain: if we merge mercy with might and might with right, then love becomes our legacy and change our children's birthright. So let us leave behind a country better than the one we were left. With every breath from my bronze-pounded chest, we will raise this wounded world into a wondrous one. We will rise from the gold-limbed hills of the West. We will rise from the wind-swept Northeast, where our forefathers first realized revolution. We will rise from the lake-rimmed cities of the Midwestern states. We will rise from the sun-baked South. We will rebuild, reconcile, and recover in every known nook of our nation, in every corner called our country. Our people, diverse and beautiful, will emerge battered and beautiful. When day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it. For there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it.
Very, very impressive.
Thank you, Amanda Gorman. Now for our benediction, I'm pleased to introduce Reverend Dr. Sylvester Beeman, the pastor of the Bethel African Methodist Episcopal Church in Wilmington, Delaware, a friend of President Biden for 30 years.
The White House website reflects the current president of the United States, very quickly changed over. I would have closed with Amanda Gorman myself, but, you know.
As a nation and people of faith gathered in this historical moment, let us unite in prayer. God, we gather under the beauty of your holiness and the holiness of your beauty. We seek your face, your smile, your warm embrace. We petition you once more in this celebration. We pray for divine favor upon our President, Joseph R. Biden, and our First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden and their family. We further ask that you would extend the same favor upon our Vice President, Kamala D. Harris, and our second gentleman, Doug Emhoff, and their family. More than ever, they and our nation need you. We need you, for in you we discover our common humanity. In our common humanity, we will seek out the wounded and bind their wounds. We will seek healing for those who are sick and diseased. We will mourn our dead. We will befriend the lonely, the least, and the left out. We will share our abundance with those who are hungry. We will do justly to the oppressed, acknowledge sin, and seek forgiveness, thus grasping reconciliation. In discovering our humanity, we will seek the good in and for all our neighbors. We will love the unlovable, remove the stigma of the so-called untouchables. We will care for our most vulnerable, our children, the elderly, emotionally challenged, and the poor. We will seek rehabilitation beyond correction. We will extend opportunity to those locked out of opportunity. We will make friends of our enemies. We will make friends of our enemies. People, your people, shall no longer raise up weapons against one another. We will rather use our resources for the national good and become a beacon of life and goodwill to the world. And neither shall we learn hatred anymore. We will lie down in peace and not make our neighbors afraid. In you, O God, we discover our humanity. In our humanity, we discover our commonness. Beyond the difference of color, creed, origin, political party, ideology, geography, and personal preferences. We'll become greater stewards of your environment, preserving the land, reaping from it a sustainable harvest, and securing its wonder and miracle-giving power for generations to come. This is our benediction, that from these hallowed grounds, where slaves labored to build this shrine and citadel to liberty and democracy, let us all acknowledge, from the indigenous Native American to those who recently received their citizenship, from the African American to those whose foreparents came from Europe and every corner of the globe, from the wealthy to those struggling to make it, from every human being, regardless of their choices, that this is our country. As such, teach us, O God. As such, teach us, O God, to live in it, love in it, be healed in it, and reconcile to one another in it, lest we miss kingdom's goal. To your glory, majesty, dominion, and power forever. Hallelujah. Glory, hallelujah. In the strong name of our collective faith, amen.
Please remain standing as the Armed Forces Color Guard retires our national colors.
That's a surprise. Just kidding. I got you guys. Some of you guys thought it was happening, right? Did I get anybody? Someone fell for it, I'm sure. Some people fell for it. Beautiful. Oh, that was perfect. Can somebody clip that, please? Space Force flag recedes. Clip it.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated and remain in your seats while the president and official party depart the platform.
The president.
For safety reasons, your ushers will release your section in an organized manner.
Not the
Following
president-elect.
the national march, the Stars and Stripes forever.
The president. What a day. So there is a very, very long day ahead of us. I'm going to be back with people later. Once we're done with this stream, which is not yet, I'm going to be back with you guys later because Joe Biden's actually at 5 o'clock signing a bunch of executive orders. We'll see what's on the list. He will hope to, on day one, literally on day one, undo some of the damage done by Donald Trump. That's around 5 today. At 7, we're going... Whoa, Elaine Chao almost taking a digger there. That was close. We are going to then at 7 p.m. already get our first press briefing of the administration from Jen Psaki. I predict it will be dramatically different than what we saw from Kayleigh McEnany, who of course deserves to never work again. And then 8:48 p.m. Eastern time, we're expecting to hear from Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And then we will see Joe Biden and Jill Biden. That's Dr. Jill Biden, remember. On the Blue Room balcony, I believe it's called. So it's really going to be quite a day. Quite a day with a lot happening. And it's weird, but I'm very curious about how different the press briefing is going to look tonight. Kamala Harris and the second gentleman, Doug Emhoff, exiting. Here is Joe Biden walking through the Capitol and exiting. I think it's pretty clear to say this guy has become Biden's lead Secret Service agent. Pretty clear.
Thank you. Need a lot of work for you. Thank you. Thank you.
And there will have to be some kind of reckoning from the, some people thought that Lil Pump was performing, but no, Lil Pump not performing today. What happens to the Republican Party now? Losing everything. Losing the respect of the U.S. globally, losing the House of Representatives in 2018, losing the Senate in 2020, losing the presidential election in 2020. So a lot of losses. Joe Biden continuing to exit the Capitol. Yeah, I don't even know who Lil Pump is, but I'm pretty sure Trump referred to him as Lil Pimp.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
The inauguration going off without incident. I'm sure we will later learn about whether there were attempts to breach security, but going out without incident for the time being. And that is a very, very important thing. Many fears. Many fears. Thanks to Music Man for gifting 25 subscriptions. I really appreciate that. And now, slowly but surely, folks will begin to file out. We see former President Barack Obama there talking to a number of different people. And slowly they will all exit. Donald Trump's name not even mentioned once during Joe Biden's speech, and I think that's a good thing. Listen, he wasn't there. He wasn't missed. Why even mention his name? And Mike Pence at some key moments, conspicuously not clapping. Conspicuously not clapping, and I think that that's notable. And why would he? Why would he? When they say the riots, those were the riots incited by his followers. The riots carried out by his followers. When they say stopping disinformation, it's disinformation perpetuated by media supportive of him and by his own administration. So, absolutely correct. Thanks, Kai Dizzle, for gifting 10 subs on Twitch. I appreciate that as well. Yeah, I will be back with more streams today, so make sure that you're subscribed on YouTube and following on Twitch, because it's all free. This is free. You just follow, and then you'll be notified of future streams. We're going to put together a schedule soon. I've got a couple other things to record for today's show, tomorrow's show, getting a jump on some things. Big day, but very important stuff. So I'm going to be back with you guys later. We will open some phone lines, and we're going to have a lot of things happening. Many, many things happening. What an exciting day. What an exciting day. So on Twitch, let's raid our friend Levi Rosman on Gotham Chess. We're going to be wrapping this stream, an historic day, and we are going to be back with you in a few hours, all right? So thanks to everybody who joined me. Subscribe on YouTube, follow on Twitch, and before you know it, we're going to have another stream.